I'm Levi Pumphrey. I'm a service tech for Landmark Implement out of Phillipsburg location. Today we're going to go over settings and adjustments on 1990 CCS air drill. Today I'm going to talk about the connections for 1990 John Deere CCS air drill. We'll go over hydraulic connections first. You want to hook up your case drain, which is going to be your flat face coupler first. That's the first one you always hook up. And then on your other ones, on number 1 SCV, you want to put your raise and lower for your ranks. Number 2, we normally put the wing fold. And on number 3 will be your CCS fan. You want to make sure you put your pressure hose on your right coupler on this particular tractor. That way when you go to shut your fan off, you put it down into float so you don't blow the seals out of your motor. For your electrical connections, first we'll hook up our lights. That's important on some of the drills that powers the clutches. Make sure the connection's good and clean. Use some contact cleaner if you need to. Then we'll hook up the ISO connector. Same with that one. Make sure it's clean. Make sure the connector on the tractor is clean. Hook that up. And your switch box, there's a connector for that too. Then that will run up into your cab for your switch box. This is your hydraulic downforce gauge and valve block. This is where you can adjust your downforce pressure. There's also a hydraulic lockup for both your ranks. Back here, this particular machine has a hydraulic lockup for the front rank. So if you're using it as a single rank machine, you can lock up the front rank and only use the rear rank. For grease points on this machine, the big ones are going to be your casters and your wheel bearings, wheel hubs. But on your casters, they got 2 grease points on the front casters. Those are a 50-hour service interval to grease those. And then on the wheel hubs, there's a grease zerk on every one of them. Grease that every 150 hours. And for grease, just use John Deere polyurea. When you go to set your downforce, you can use your gauge. I like to use the rock shaft here. The best way is put it in the ground, drive forward, and you want this top of this rock shaft parallel with the ground. Also, you want to check when you're beginning of the year if you've used it for beans. This is your splitter, and there are tabs in here you can take out, and you flip them around to lock off your front or rear sections. You want to make sure if you're going back for wheat that you have those all opened up. Here are your blockage sensors. You have one on every run on your secondary runs. On your transmission, you want to check the oil level annually. The plug is right here. You just pull it out and the oil should be level at the bottom of the hole. The oil for that is either 1540 engine oil or high guard oil, just depends on your serial number. You want to also, every season, I would recommend running your transmission setting up and down full length of the adjustment and make sure it's free. Don't use grease on it. Use a dry lube so it don't collect dirt. Also back here is one of your shear pins. There's one there and there's one in the center of the drive shaft. And you want to make sure they're in good condition and not broken or starting to break. Normally they should have extras here for you. Your chains, you can grease or lubricate them every 50 hours. On your fan, make sure your screen's clean. They can get plugged up and cause issues. On the drive wheel, your transmission drive, ground drive, make sure the tire's in good condition, make sure the wheel bolts are tight, the tires should be 36 psi. Along with the rest of your tires, you need to make sure the wheel bolts are all tight on them. There's a sticker on most of them that tell you the torque setting or spec. Also check your tire pressures on all your tires. And we're going to talk about meters here a little bit. In this area for wheat, we're going to be running 32 millimeter wide black roll. There's 3 rolls available. A white 32 millimeter, and that's going to be for like your higher rates, soybean and high rates of wheat. Then you got the wide black roll, which is for wheat and high rates of milo. There's also a narrow 16 millimeter wide black roll, and that's for low rates of milo. But on the wide rolls, black rolls for wheat, we're going to set our gates fully open. They got 4 settings. They got closed, third, 2/3, and full open. For wheat, we'll want it fully open. There is a little detent ball. Take this out. That's what the detent is for those gates, and sometimes those can get dirt in them and get stuck. So if you're having issues with that, you might check those. I would recommend, if you're going to switch back and forth between, if you're doing soybeans with it and wheat or other crops, these aren't the easiest to change. So I'd recommend buying a second set of meters that you can drop in, so you don't have to disassemble this whole unit just to change your rolls over. If you have any questions, you can contact your local Landmark Implement